Let's get it on then, shall we? Mwah. Welcome to Sex on the Peach, your weekly hump day dose of everyone's favourite untalked about topic, sex. Let's get honest, let's get open, let's get comfortable, and let's get into this week's show. Friends, lovers, listeners, happy Wednesday, happy hump day, and happy Sex on the Peach day. Today is the season 2 finale of Sex on the Peach, and I am very grateful to be joined again by my two best friends, Devika Joshi and Katie Faye Morehouse, who continue to battle it out for the top, second and third spot of the most listened to episodes of Sex on the Peach. As we know, the final episodes of the seasons are a free-for-all. They are confessions, they are questions, they are would-you-rathers. And today we're also going to be delving into your ICKS that you have sent me in. And I got far more than I ever expected, but we will be working through them accordingly. As everyone knows, I'm currently on tour with a show, hence why this last season has been a very solo season for me. It's been very difficult for me to get guests on and make that work. So I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to everyone who has continued to tune in and listen to me talk about sex time after time after time, because let me tell you, I'm so grateful to be joined by people today because I am sick to death of my own voice. But being on tour led me to navigate the world of touring and some of the confessions that come with it. And that is what this episode is partly dedicated to. We've got a lot to get through. It's a bit of a laugh. It's not one to take too seriously. But for the final time this season, let's get into it. This is what goes on tour doesn't stay on tour. Ladies, how are we both feeling about the season 2 finale of Sex on the Peach? Are we ready to go for it?
I am so excited. I've got a drink. I'm just, I can't believe it's season 2.
Season 2.
It's been a year, right?
The last season finale was around Christmas, so almost a year. But also, we need to take a moment for the fact that this is the first episode I have done this season with other people.
I love that.
It's been peach heavy.
It's been peach heavy. And we need to say that after the first ever episode of Sex on the Peach, the most to listen to episodes are your guest episodes. And they are always about 3 to 5 people between them. And they are in constant competition. How do we feel about that?
It's healthy competition.
No, I'm livid. I get really competitive and there's nothing I can do to sway this.
Katie, would you like to tell Dev what you said last time I told you that her episode was catching up to yours?
Bring it. Let's hear it.
What did I say?
She said, fuck the virgins.
Just undermining my entire episode. How dare you?
Listen, the race between the virgins and the vaginismus is strong. It's giving Olympics.
We should be allies and you're out here causing drama.
Especially because after that, the next most listened to episode is the season finale of season 1. So ladies, listen, you're popular. So I'm very grateful that not only are you my best friends, but you're also my most listened to guest on Sex on the Peach. So we're in good hands, I hope, for this episode.
It's giving the people what they want.
It's giving the people what they want. Maybe the frights of their lives, because as we know, this episode is titled What Goes on Tour Doesn't Stay on Tour. So for the stagies out there, buckle up in case you hear one of your stories read out today. So we're going to make our way through some ICKS, some tour confessions, some questions and some would you rathers. And we've got a lot to get through. Like, people have come through with the content for us today. So thank you to everyone who has sent their stuff in. And actually, do you know what? Before we start, I'd like to put to both of you the question that my mother asks me once per relationship. How's the sex? She doesn't really take it further than that. It's just the one time per relationship my mum will say to me, and darling, how's the sex?
I love that from your mum.
So I am asking you both, how's the sex?
Do you want to go first, Katie?
No, you go for it, Deb.
Okay, 3-year relationship. It's our anniversary on Sunday, which is very cute. Yeah, this is our bed that you're looking at.
Like, this is where the magic happens.
This is where the magic happens.
This is where I am pillow princess.
Guys, the laziest person out there. And it's not even that like developed over time. That was like straight from the beginning. You know what you're getting into. Yeah, it's great. We have like a nice rhythm, and I guess we've sort of figured out what works, and you take some time with every relationship. And then once you're into that, you're like, great. The only thing I have to compromise on is morning sex. Not my vibe. Guys, sorry to say.
Do you know, this is the difficulty with me and Martin, is that Martin is so good to go in the morning. And I'm very much like a nighttime person.
Yeah.
So I'm getting all giddy and excited and ready to go late at night. And he is literally like, get off me.
I'm good for like 2 p.m.
Such a specific time. It's like post lunch.
That's probably the point where we would probably match together best if we were together at that time, but we're not. So
Give it a good lunchtime sesh.
Yeah.
That actually does sound nice.
So we're giving it weekends.
Listen, you know that I'm down for whatever works for every couple. And exactly as you said, Deb, very well put, finding your rhythm.
Although, to be fair, the other day I held off on making dinner, because if we're going to do it on a weeknight, it has to be before we've had dinner, because it can't be after.
Just feel a bit bloated.
It's just not the one.
Yeah.
So it literally, we have like a half-hour window when he gets in from work.
Sorry, Martin.
Do you know what's funny as well? He said to me, before we started this podcast, he said, Katie, you just don't need to share about, I said, that's literally the whole point of the podcast. Anyway, yeah, so he came in and he was like, dinner doesn't look like it's ready.
Not a giving 1950s housewife.
Where's my food?
Listen, I'm going to put a disclaimer on this podcast. We fucking love Martin.
And we know he's listening, so.
Even if he wasn't, we are obsessed with Martin. He's like another member of the girl gang. Like, we love him to death. So it's all with love, Martin. We love you.
One day we will pull him into the season finale.
Well, last year he didn't even have a name last year, so at least we're progressing.
I think he was called
Stephen.
Stephen.
Anyway, he came in and I was like, no, we're having sex. And he was like, I've got to call my dad. I was like, well, you're just going to have to do it really quick then. So not him calling his dad, trying to have like the quickest conversation in the world. We just stood there with my arms folded.
Oh, not even just getting undressed or anything, just fully like mad.
No, funny. He needs to undress me. That's got to be part of the game.
So you weren't giving it legs akimbo on the bed like me with the partner who used to go for a walk?
No, I wasn't giving it that.
You'll have to refer to season 1 finale for that story, friends. Well, listen, ladies, I'm very happy to hear that you found your rhythms, whether it's at the weekend or in the evenings or at 2 p.m. or the mornings, and that you're living your best healthy sex lives with your partners. I'm taking credit. If either of you have ever taken anything from the podcast,
you take it.
You can take it. I give it to you. There's times when I remember I like parrot back what you say, but I try to make it sound like I've come up with it. So I'll like take a line from the thing. I'll just be like, you talk about having like check-ins with your partner. I was like, how can I say this in a way that doesn't sound exactly like Peach Coin has written it? And I'm like, she's like, is there anything you want to try? Like, how are you feeling? Just make it sound so like off the cuff and natural, and it didn't come across like that. It looked like I'd been planning that the entire day. Just so like, is there anything like you want to like try?
You're like, do you want to try tying me up again?
Oh no, I don't have to do any more work, but it's a fantasy. Yay.
It's honestly my favorite thing, Dev. Honestly, I love it about you. I'm so here for it. Okay, so listen, I was not expecting to get this many icks, but we've got a lot to get through and we're going to just work our way through them. Because I'm going to say, in my opinion, an ick is something that is kind of very random and irrational.
I agree.
So some things on this list, I'm like, I don't know that that's an ick. I think it's just a straight up problem.
Right. And some of these things I'm like, they have nothing to do with like a part. Like I would have thought it was if someone does it, it kind of turns you off them, but it could be anything that's not necessarily either sexual or it could be something that's like obviously not a red flag. Like if someone's rude to like wait staff, kick them out. If someone's like mean to you or abusive or any of that, obviously that's not an ick. That's like a get in the bin situation.
A huge issue.
Right. So some of these are okay. Actually, mine are pretty decent.
Let's just go through each one and we can just cash in with our own feelings on these icks. Off we go.
Smoking.
See, this for me, I just don't think it's an ick. I'm like, I think you are someone who can either be with a smoker or you can't.
I don't know. No, for me, it's definitely an ick because if I saw a really attractive guy and then he got out a cigarette, I'd be like, okay, well, that's just changed everything about you now. And now I actually don't even find you attractive anymore.
Is that not like a really fair deal breaker for you, though? I think an ick has to be something that like to someone else might be irrational, or what am I looking for?
I feel like smoking is for people like a non-negotiable.
Right.
I think smoking and not smoking is quite a big thing. Whereas I think like an ick is maybe something you're like, my partner does this and I'm like, ew, I'm not about it.
Because like, on Hinge, obviously on Hinge, I don't know why I say it like I'm on it, but I spent a lot of time on my colleagues' Hinges. There's like an option to say if you're a smoker or a drinker, what your religion is, like the big things they think are going to like be an issue in a relationship or something that you should discuss before you start dating someone. Like that's my non-negotiable, that's my deal breaker. So I would presume an ick isn't something that would be in that section, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoking is not for me. If people want to smoke, that's fine. But I would struggle to date a smoker for sure. So whoever sent that in, I get it because it's not for me either. I mean, I think that's quite like a strong, broad one to start with because let me tell you, they get specific.
Well, on the Hinge note, my second one here is men posing with fish.
Oh my God, yeah. What is that about?
What is that about? Can someone tell us?
I don't understand.
I think it's like a men used to hunt kind of thing. So it's like, look at me fulfilling a traditional gender role.
You think it's giving caveman vibe?
Right.
But I don't even really think it's giving that.
I am man, I hunt food.
It's usually in the dark as well.
Wait, what?
To be fair, I'm thinking about the men who have photos, with the really, really big ones. And I think you have to go at night to get the really big ones.
How do you even know this information?
Katie Faye, I have never seen a photo of someone holding a fish at night.
Right. Do you know what? I think I know someone who actually has one. I'm going to go look for it right now. I'm going to show you.
It's the fact that you even know that information. Like, if you want the really big fish for your profile picture, you've got to go fishing at night.
Like, everyone knows that.
Because otherwise, the most you're getting is a cod. Listen, I don't actually know what size a cod is.
I'm trying to think of what the fish is called. It's like, it's the ones with the mustache.
What, a catfish?
Yeah.
You've got to go at night for your catfish.
I think you do.
Friends, lovers, listeners, if you want that profile picture with a catfish, that is an 11 p.m. trip.
Oh, but you could make a joke about that, right? With the catfishes on social media. There's something in there.
Let's crack on. Next ick.
Revving the engine on their flashy car as they drive past.
Again. Yeah.
It's so obnoxious.
It's noise pollution.
But what I would like to know is if anyone out there is into that.
Especially the popping.
And you're like, has your car broken?
Yeah.
Do you need to go to the garage?
It's giving unhealthy.
Yeah, I get it. Right, next up.
Okay, this is great. Heavy breathing. Honestly, I'd rather you pass out and die.
It's so savage. That's a hard one because I don't know that people can help that.
But I'm curious, is this one person that's heavy breathing and annoying you, or is this everyone around you heavy breathing? Because if it was one person, I'm like, you have to learn to live with it. But if it's like everyone in your life has sinus issues, that's going to be annoying. Right?
I'm like so silent in my sleep that partners have been known to think I've died because I don't really move. I don't really make much noise. So think sometimes they're like, is she okay? So I think I'm kind of the opposite, but I don't know that I've ever been with someone who is a particularly heavy breather, but I would say things like that are difficult because it's kind of like not someone's fault.
And also, it's not saying snoring. It doesn't say snoring. It's just specifically heavy breathing.
You know what? If you're actively dating, I'd say put that in your profile, because
that's a deal breaker. That's not an ick.
I've also got when someone doesn't look up or acknowledge any kind of customer-facing service.
Devika.
#cunt.
I was going to say the hashtag.
#cunt. There you go.
That's a deal breaker. That's not an ick. That's just like, get out of town. Absolutely not about that life.
Agreed.
If you're treating people with disrespect, it's game over. That's not even icky in dating. That's just icky behavior as a human. Bye.
Agreed.
In the bin.
We've got gamers, saws about it. I'm sad about it. That's like my entire audience. Like, I'd be out of a job if not for gamers. And I will say, I dated a gamer. The only thing that I would find, which is an ick with gamers, is when someone asks you to watch them play a game and not participate. Okay. Or I could do literally anything else. Or you could not play Mario Kart and we could have a conversation. That could also happen.
Yeah, I don't want to watch someone play a game, but if they want to play a game, I don't think it's not a deal breaker for me. If someone likes to play games, that's fine. And Dev, you know what? I'll listen to you voice video games anytime, any day of the week.
Thank you.
So no offense meant to you, whoever sent that in.
Oh, I feel offended. This one's amazing. Smiling whilst dead behind the eyes.
Why are you dead behind the eyes though?
What does that even look like?
It's giving Annabelle the horror movie doll.
I just what's going on in this person's life that this is happening?
Do you not love me?
I don't know if I've ever met anyone who smiles and they look dead behind the eyes.
Maybe after like a double shift.
You're looking at me as if I do know someone who does that.
We all know someone who's a bit dead behind the eyes, but those icks will come out a bit later today.
Okay, here we go. Constantly on a phone when dating at a restaurant.
Again, that's a deal breaker.
Well, if you're going on like a first date with someone and they can't get off their phone, I feel like that's not a great sign.
If someone needs to be on their phone on a date, they can just say, yo. Sorry, I don't think I've ever said yo in my life.
But this person
Yo, bro, get off the phone.
This person I'm hypothetically dating is saying to me, yo, I've got something to deal with on my phone. So if this comes up, I might need to take a call. I might need to take a text. You know what I mean? Like, I think if someone's got something going on, it's okay. But yeah, I don't just want to be like sitting at a table, like watching someone on their phone.
No, this one, okay. I'll tell you why this is making me laugh after I say it. Long toenails when people don't take care of their feet. Fully agree. However, I did stub my toe and my toenail's about to fall off, and that happened today.
Wait, your toenail's already about to fall off? Normally it takes a little while.
It's fallen off before, so I'm not sure what's going on with my feet, if this is a recurring issue. I woke up after a night out once and my toenail was missing.
Oh,
wait, what?
Yeah, I was at my friend's place in the country and I woke up and I was like, hey guys, is anyone awake for breakfast? By the way, has anyone seen my big toenail?
These types of things happen to you far too often.
So I relate to this person because I do take care of my feet, but sometimes it happens. Okay, when a guy refers to my vagina as a pussy, get out.
What else do you want someone to call? I like it.
Yeah, see, do you know what? I didn't used to like this.
Pussy.
I used to hate it.
What did you want it to be called?
Nunny.
No.
That is what I called it. Did you know that?
We must have had that conversation because I don't know where I would have drawn that from otherwise.
Yeah, we must have had that conversation. There's no way you've just come out with the exact thing that I call my vagina.
You
That's
do
weird.
seem like a nunny girl.
Wait, now.
I call it my nunny.
Does Martin call?
No, does he fuck? No.
Because I feel like it would be an ick for me if someone was like suggesting that they were going to lick my nunny.
Nunny's like the kind of polite word I use to describe my vagina, so I use that in sensible settings.
The way that I would say vagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. In a sexual setting, what would you prefer? Because for me, pussy is the only option.
Fanny, maybe. No, Fanny's weird as well. I just didn't used to like people talking about it.
You'll be like, just don't actually talk about it at all.
Don't talk about it at all. Just do what you got to do.
Okay, we've got baby voice. Can I just ask, is this to each other, to dogs, to family? Like, as in, it could be anything, right?
That is a fair comment, actually, because I love a baby voice with every single dog I meet.
I was just going to say the same thing. I'm not up for the baby voice in a relationship, but the dogs, it's another story.
Yeah.
The way I speak to them is embarrassing, but in a relationship, not for me.
I do it. I didn't do it in the beginning. I've eased into it. It took me a while.
I definitely do. It's not mega baby voice. It's like a different kind of.
I think there's a difference between like, oh, baby, or like, oh, baby, you look so cute. Oh my gosh, giving it a little walking ick.
It's never ever that.
No, it's
Never
not. It's not
that.
like anime character from some bad 90s thing. Like,
Oh my God, baby, you look so cute.
Yeah, no, it's not that.
I'm traumatized.
I made myself feel a little bit ill.
We do this really random thing where he'll just go, hey, you're so beautiful. So it's not really a baby voice, but it's just a voice that is specifically designated for each other, if that makes sense.
That's a nice way of phrasing it.
Okay.
Except Jimmy also does it with his mom, but we'll get to that another time. We'll circle back to that when I've had another drink.
That is fantastic.
Apple Pay doesn't work, so they have to get their card out of their card holder.
These
That's
are the
good.
icks I'm here for, because what do you
I get that. That's the modern day equivalent of like when you have to get your change from someone, but they're trying to pay behind you. So you're still awkwardly like putting your change back into your purse. It's that weird transitional period. I get it. I'm here for that.
I think the next step on this is if contactless doesn't work and you have to physically put the card in the card reader and input the PIN. That is giving the ultimate ick.
I think that's one of my favorite ones on the list, because it is so specific to the point where I'm like, if you were realistically on a date with someone and they went to pay and that happened, is that it? Are you like, I'm done? Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, when you talk about icks, like, how far does it go?
Yeah.
Is it that has happened? They've had to like get their card out and you're like, forget it. We won't be going on a second date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I love it.
No, this one's actually my favorite. Elasticated waist jeans.
See, this is funny. I'm actually really here for elasticated waist.
Me too. I love an elasticated waist. What if it was, you need the support, or if it's maternity, or what? Like,
why are you both wearing elasticated waist jeans?
What? I'm needing the cinch at the top and the space down below.
I think I'm like mixing up an elasticated waist jean, because you're just meaning like a stretchy material jean.
No. Do you know what? I'll tell you exactly what I'm on about, actually, because
this is going to be like the bed thing.
It's going to be the bed. It's giving the bed.
You know those ones where you get the button in the middle? So it's like, it's not visible on the outside. You just sort of like use the stretchy bit in between and button it up.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
I honestly, this is the bed all over again, because I'm like,
no,
what are you
so
talking about? I don't know what
I'll tell you. I went to Selfridges when I was like 12 or 13 to get like it was like a personalized shopping thing where they did the fitting thing that you're talking about when like your waist and thigh ratio is slightly off, and they recommended an elasticated waist for me.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was great. Honestly, 10 out of 10. No judgment.
Amazing.
I only think of elasticated waist jeans as like the maternity jeans with like the big elasticated panel.
It's a beautiful world out there for elastication. Cooking dinner and putting the tea towel over their shoulder while sweating over the oven.
That is me. I love a tea towel over the shoulder.
But look, they're sweating over an oven for you. It's Katie Faye. It's Katie making dinner for Martin.
Again, I'm like, wait, aren't you grateful that someone is cooking you?
Literally.
No.
I actually love a towel over the shoulder. I think that's, especially when a guy does it, I'm like, yeah, you can wear.
What about round the neck?
No. Giving I've got dinner to cook at 5 and Barry's at 8.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. I don't really have people at my house very often. And very like, this is my safe sanctuary space. So I can't say that many people have been over here throwing tea towels anywhere. So I don't know where I expect people to put their tea towels. Thank you, Devika, for delivering those icks for us.
Welcome.
Katie,
strap in.
It's over to you.
Someone that turns their phone sideways to play a game.
I do that.
What game?
I play Monopoly.
game?
Monopoly. I play it on my phone all the time. I
No,
love
you
it.
don't. I love this new bit of information that I've never known about you before.
You can download Monopoly on your phone.
Can we do like multiplayer?
Yeah, we can have a Sex on the Beach Monopoly group.
Love that.
That sounds amazing. Oh, do you know what? This is one for me, actually. Someone that uses he as a form of laughter via text.
Oh, one of my exes used to do
I
that.
know. And they didn't laugh that way. Like if they laughed like then maybe it would be okay.
I don't know that it was an ick, but I was like, it's an interesting choice. I'm a lol gal.
I love a lol. This one I feel personally attacked because I actually do this. When you're somewhere busy and someone slides past with their hand on your back.
Wait, you do that?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't aim for their back, but occasionally, like if I'm sliding past people, I don't just want to barge into them, because I'll tell you what, I did this once at a Calvin Harris concert and I ended up with a Smirnoff Ice poured over the top of my head. So I just gently like put my hand somewhere on their body, which isn't sexually inappropriate, just to let them know that I'm there.
I would say this has probably come from girls having felt, or, you know, women and vulva owners feeling that men and penis owners have done that in a slightly sexual or inappropriate way in the past. That's like what I'm imagining when I read that having been sent in from someone. Do you know what I mean? Because I definitely have been in bars where like men and penis owners will give it like the sort of very slow like creep across the back.
I've seen it happen to
And I'm
you.
like, why are you touching me like that?
And also, you're not like you are not someone who's giving off like I like to be tactile. So like when someone starts to do that, and you're very obviously just like not for me, and they don't stop, it's like
I'm like, please get your hand off my back. Did I give you consent to touch me? I don't think so. Here's my podcast. Have a listen.
You go for a meal and they're a really fussy eater and have to order something plain.
This is giving Dev's ick about people not having seasoning in their cupboards.
1000%. Like you can, I mean, because I get that there are people like everyone's got, you know, dietary issues, requirements like vegan, veggie, gluten free. We've all got stuff. And for someone that's been on,
We've all got our
I was like, I've been
stuff.
on and off diets for like 1,000 years, so I do appreciate that. But I would never go unseasoned and plain. Like I didn't even submit that, but that is, I relate.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that.
I don't think that I would like end something with someone over them being a fussy eater though.
But fussy eater in a very specific way. Like if you're going to go plain, we didn't need to go to a restaurant.
You're like, I could have made you spaghetti and butter at home.
I can make a banging spaghetti and butter.
And olive oil. I can make you a banging cheese toast soup.
Guys, we did not need to spend all of this money. I could have done this at home.
I really love going out and sharing food. And
yes, I
food
get
is
that.
such a big thing for me. It just limits your choices.
That's almost a love language for me, actually, if I'm being honest, is like
I would agree.
the sharing of multiple meals at a restaurant. This next one, I feel like this is a strong one for all of us, actually.
Okay, I'm going to pour a drink while you say it. Go.
Bad grammar really gets me. I actually really do get it, but also I have come to a point in my life where I've just stopped correcting the shit that goes on my phone.
You really have.
Because otherwise I get too overwhelmed at the thought of replying at all. So I just let my thumbs just go everywhere and I'm like, whatever.
That is not bad grammar, Katie Faye. You're just being lazy. Let's call it for what it is. That's not giving bad grammar. Dev, the English scholar,
No,
is sat
it really
there.
upsets me. Like, but it's things that like the different uses of your and there and stuff. I just feel like it just keeps me up at night. If like, and I think that it's my job to tell everyone that they're wrong. like
you're like lying in bed next to Jimmy seething because he like sent something with like the apostrophe.
And he's
in the wrong place
dyslexic.
that day.
He's so dyslexic. So I'm like, and I remember when I was first like, you know, I was trying to flirt with him at something, and I saw a list that he had written, and he had misspelled something, so I corrected it for him, and he's like, you know, I'm dyslexic, right? And I was like, I did not know that, and now I feel really awful, but doesn't change the fact that that's not how you spell there.
You're like, I understand that you're dealing with something that affects that, but I don't care.
No, I care, but I'm like, but let me help you. No, I'm actually obsessed with with grammar and so and like little weird quirks of the English language. So yes, this would be really hard because it's not that I would actually find it annoying. It's that I would have the compulsive need to correct someone. One of my best friends, she got her boyfriend to purposefully say cactuses as many times as he could in one story to see at what point I would correct him and say it's cacti. And I was trying really hard because it was like a new boyfriend. I was like, oh, okay. It took me like 3 and then I was like, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to stop you. It's cacti. She's like, gotcha, bitch. So yeah, you know what? Everyone knows this. This would be my issue.
Did you send it in?
No, but I'm really passionate about it.
When you get asked, what's your snap? I feel like this is a thing for the Gen Zers.
If someone said to me, what's your snap? I'd immediately go, you're too young for me.
She's 100.
I'm actually 185. The blue tabnivora is working wonders.
This is so niche. A slow lip bite and frown at the same time.
Oh, why are you both doing it?
It's one of those things that just has to
they
be done,
can't
isn't
see
it?
us. Wow.
The slow lip bite, for me, that is the epitome of a collaboration, not a performance. Because I'm like, who's that for?
Yeah, that's for you.
Who are you performing for? Feel like you've seen that in a film or a music video, maybe even porn. A music video. Again, really showing my age. But like, I feel like you've seen that someone gone, that's sexy. You know what I mean? It's giving performative.
It's giving like I point to myself in the mirror during sex.
Do you guys not do that?
I can't. I'm lying down. I'm
joking.
You're like, I'm never looking in a mirror.
Unless that mirror is on the ceiling.
You should be like, hey, babe, in one of your check-ins.
Yeah.
What do you think about getting a mirrored ceiling in our new plan? The next one is a little similar actually to one we've already had. But you know what? I've honoured every single one that's been sent in. So let's go for it.
Long finger and toenails on guys. I guess that's slightly more specific. Well, they're just literally not going anywhere near me.
Do you know what? Actually, that's a good point, because when I first saw that one, I thought, I mean, the toenails, I actually don't understand why anyone really wants long toenails, because isn't that uncomfortable when you wear shoes? But the fingernails specifically, I thought it's always been looked at as such like a nice feminine quality. Obviously, don't get me started on that horseshit. For women to have long fingernails, right? And men to have short fingernails. So I thought actually like maybe this is like a gender stereotype that we need to look at. However, I will say I hadn't really thought about it until you just said it then. You're not fingering me with a long fingernail.
That's all it is for me. Like it would be the same if I was to be in a relationship with a woman. I would not be comfortable with them having really long fingernails.
It's a hygiene issue, actually.
Yeah.
It's giving thrush.
It's also just making me VV nervous for any scratches.
Agreed. I've come round. I understand.
If you want to do you, I'm all here for it, but you just won't be doing me.
With your fingers. Oral and penis penetration only.
Yeah. 99.9% of men's handwriting.
Harsh. My handwriting isn't great.
No, neither is mine.
My handwriting is giving doctor's prescription. Where you're like, what?
I'm actually really, really on board with this. If a guy's got really bad handwriting, that is a definite ick for me.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
At what point would you see their handwriting, though?
When they write me a card.
Are people still writing love letters?
Yeah. Martin, in the early days, used to write me a note every week.
In the early days. Martin.
Did you hear that?
Why has that stopped? You're like, write me poems, bitch.
I keep saying to him, I'm like, you've changed.
You're like, why is the honeymoon period over? Write me my love notes.
He actually got them like specially ordered little postcards to write them on.
No, stop it, Martin. We do love you. It's too cute. It's so cute.
At the top corner, it said KFM fan club.
Oh, well, I want some of them. We're in the KFM fan club.
President and secretary here.
It gets better on the back of them. It had a QR code that went to my Instagram.
Wait, were these notes that he gave to you? So you'd have a link to your own Instagram?
It was obviously a feature that you could add on when you made them.
Oh, Martin.
It was cute. He's such a little cutie pie. He's going to kill me.
Here is a note for you. And also, if you want to take some time out today to look at your own Instagram, there's a QR code for you on the back. Okay, next up.
Walking boots.
What?
Walking boots.
Are we talking about like mountaineering walking boots? Like,
yeah.
But surely then you'd have to be someone who doesn't like hiking.
But the boots specifically.
Can I actually add something on top of this?
You're like, I sent this in.
What are those sock shoe things that go through people's toes that they wear out on public on the streets?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That is giving ick.
Again, I don't think I know.
No,
what
it's
you're
like
talking
like
about.
it looks like it's socks, as in like each individual toe is like.
It's giving frog foot.
Yeah, it looks webbed. It's giving webbed.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to need to check them out, but I don't. It doesn't sound like I'm going to love
No,
that.
They're atrocious.
I'd like to point out how much of this has been about feet.
I'm not really a feet gal, so I kind of get it.
Just
but-
every other ick is foot related.
We've already had this one as well. When girls put on a baby voice and act dumb.
No, see that? Okay, I get that.
You don't need to do that. We don't live here anymore. Own your intelligence. If any potential partner is threatened by your intelligence, that's the ick.
Yeah.
And they are not for you. That's all I'm really going to say on that one.
Agreed. This one is also really quite niche, but people singing along to the songs in a shop.
Wouldn't bother
No,
me.
unless they did like a full voiced.
Full out.
Yeah, unless it was like, look what a great singer I am. Let me sing for you.
It's giving stagey.
Yeah.
It's giving probably someone in the musical theatre industry.
Yeah. I definitely know one guy who you've slept with who I can imagine doing this.
Thank you, Katie Faye, because I presume you mean me and not Dave. I would agree. Next ick. I have to spell this one out. So when boys say aw spelt AWE or aw spelt AWH instead of ah spelt AWW.
I mean, I do agree that AWW is the only way to spell it.
Why is anyone spelling it any way else? But to be fair, you Brits, and I say this having grown up here,
You're not
I know,
American.
but it's this weird, but I speak like an American. And this thing of like writing ERM, what is that?
Oh, I do that all the time.
If I read that in my head, it would be which is weird.
Because you have a fake American accent. You're not even American. How would you spell donut?
I would add in the extra letters because I'm here.
Exactly.
I love that you went right for donut. You're like, let me find it where it hurts. The stupidest spelling ever.
But on the note of like words that sound like that, the next ick is saying after drinking.
No.
And that's our thoughts on that one. Poorly shaped t-shirts.
Do you know what image just came to my mind? Ross in that Frankie Says relaxed t-shirt.
Are we thinking a too tight t-shirt?
Surely,
maybe?
yeah.
Do you know what? I will say this. I feel bad because I feel like a lot of these icks are aimed at men and penis owners. And there's actually not so many that are like heavily aimed at women and vulva owners.
Yeah, that's true.
The next one is kissing their mum on the mouth. Doesn't bother me, actually. I'm like,
No, it
fine.
doesn't bother me, but that's mainly because I think sometimes my mum kissed me on the mouth.
Deb, you don't have a right to have a feeling on this one. You call your dad daddy.
I do.
Which I think is the vocal
I
equivalent.
don't kiss him though. Like I don't mind doing the kiss on the cheek, but no, the lips just feels, I don't know.
Next up, we've got when people keep their socks on during sexy time.
Yeah.
I do that.
Do you?
Yeah. I wear socks to bed.
You're like, I am fully dressed and lying down, and you're just gonna have to
Work around it.
Find your way in. No, I wear socks to bed, which is apparently an ick.
You sleep in socks. Is that not uncomfortable?
I love it.
I find that really weird.
I don't know. Like, I think if someone's like naked and they've got their socks on, so it actually doesn't bother me.
I just think it looks really funky. I tell you what makes it worse if they've got like long socks on that are pulled all the way up.
Like a knee high.
Does Martin wear knee-high socks?
Mid-calf. You know, like business socks and they just like cut off here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I think that's worse.
I don't think it bothers me, but I get it. The next one I really enjoy, when a table tennis ball falls off the table and they try to catch it and miss it. Imagine being like, no sex for you tonight. Should have caught that ball, honey.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Shower towels wrapped too high on the waist.
Do you know what's so funny?
Well, you do, clearly.
Is that when Martin came in earlier on and you guys saw him? His towel was like just below his boobs.
Oh, I thought he was naked.
He always wears it like up here.
Well, we know now that you did not send that ick in.
Not me.
Right, here we go. It's getting stagey, and they've even written stagey ick if a guy can't harmonise. I think that's unfairly gendered because why is it only if a guy can't harmonise?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Do you know what it's giving? Oh, should I tell this story? I don't know, because it's giving vocally.
It's giving.
Oh no. Oh God. Okay.
So
It's giving vocally.
So I was not expecting to tell this story actually until right now when it popped into my head that a guy did say to me once, "You are the most attractive woman I've ever met," vocally. Cool.
No, it was a list, wasn't it? It wasn't like vocally.
It was a list.
It was a list. Okay, yeah.
There were other things in the list.
There were other things.
But I think the key takeaway from this is that it was the first thing in the list.
You are the most attractive woman I've ever met.
Vocally.
Well, you know what? It's the first and only time that is the way in which I've been told that I am the most attractive woman someone's ever met. So I'll take it. However, it was interesting because I thought, well, I'm probably not going to sing my way through sex. So they did have a thing for sopranos. That's all I will say.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on. Someone biting my shoulder after sex. Why? I'd love that.
I would love that. I love a bite.
Me too. All about it. Debbie looks stressed.
Maybe I'm just thinking maybe it's the shoulder specifically.
I'm like, people can bite my neck, my collarbone, my shoulders before, during, after, whenever you feel like it. Just come at me, you little vampire.
Wow.
My boyfriend drinks a glass of milk after dinner like a small, weird Victorian child who needs calcium.
That is good.
I don't have anything to add to that. I think that is independently phenomenal.
Yeah, that is amazing.
And they've managed to stay together despite the milk.
Right. And you clearly are kind of here for it. And you know what? We are here for it too. I'm offended by the next one. I feel attacked. People who hold their nose when they jump in the water. Because all of my holiday videos from traveling, every time I jump off boats or jump off cliffs into the ocean, I'm always holding my nose. And I will say, I looked at those videos and I was like, that definitely ruins the video a bit. But what else are you doing? Like, I don't want the water to go up my nose.
No, but when you jump in, you've just got to make sure you're going with your nose when you go in.
Well, I'm offended. Last one. Okay. This is quite specific, I think, to our industry or touring. I'm not sure because obviously they know the title of the episode. Anyway, here we go. People having long-term affairs with people in their cast while they have serious partners waiting at home.
Problematic.
Yeah, that's going back to what I said at the beginning, which is like there's things that are icks and then there's things that are...
That's not an ick.
That's a fundamental breakdown in a relationship.
Where one person has an issue with being faithful to the relationship that they are in.
Yes, I would vehemently agree.
And I talked to a friend about this recently and they were feeling pretty bad about it. And I remember being like, not even trying to think, I can think of like 7 people off the top of my head who have been through this exact same scenario. Yeah. So it's a cliche for a reason.
I will say it is very, very in keeping with the title of this episode. It is very, very common in our industry, but also our industry is what we know. I'm sure it's probably common in every industry. Anyone who is doing these things, I would forward you all to the episode, Is Monogamy Not For Me? Because I think there's a lot of people who need to have those very honest conversations. It's not icky. It's horrible.
No, yeah. Icky is just not even the right word for it.
Like, I feel like it really dilutes what is actually quite a serious issue within our industry because I think it's just a lot more present than it is in other industries.
Which is interesting, right? Because I think maybe what a lot of people don't know about the performing industry, especially on tour life, is that there are actually so many people who are in open relationships and marriages because of this very reason.
Yeah.
The problem there is just people not feeling like they have an open, honest space to be able to speak to their other half and say, this is what I'm currently going through.
It is hard, you know, you're not just in a theatre industry, but in any industry where people are away from their partners for a long time. Like, you know, I've been honest on my episode about monogamy, about the time happened when I was married and had my affair. Like, I didn't see my partner for a year. You know what I mean? Like, and that was because I was definitely not in a grown space where I felt like I could communicate what I needed. And, you know, there had been numerous other breakdowns in that relationship before it even came to that. But I think that it's definitely something that needs to be looked at in a space where if you are going to be away from your partner for long periods of time, it's definitely that's something that needs to be addressed. So I would agree that it is an ick that needs to be addressed, but I'd say more than an ick, it is a huge, huge issue.
And one thing that I would just want to add to that is having been in a situation where I was like with someone and then had been spending time with someone new and people in my cast were commenting on it. I remember being like, but I'm the one that's in the relationship. So like, I'm the one that's signed up to this situation. So if you're going to judge someone, you're going to judge me and not the single person. Cause I just felt like it was really unfair that like people would put attention on the person who actually has no responsibility in this situation in terms of like, it's not their job to respect a relationship they're not a part of. So I found it really unfair that like people love to go after this like other woman narrative or other like, you know, the homewrecker narrative. And I was like, but it's not really about them. Like you're the one that signed up to be in a monogamous relationship. So it's kind of on you. And also like, you know, we don't know what the parameters of everyone's relationships are. So it's really unfair to kind of come in and go, you know, this person's wheedling their way into this relationship. It's like, you actually have no idea what's going on. So we could be a little bit kinder to also the other woman or the other man in these scenarios, I would say.
I don't know that I was even expecting to speak about this now, but I guess like what you've just said has like led me to a place where I'm like, I guess I'm going to talk about this. You know, this is an end of season episode. It's fun. We're here to have a laugh. We're here to have a good time. However, we also need to talk about real life shit that's going on. So on that note, I will say that I did not have the best beginning of this year in that respect in my life sexually, because I'm trying to be, I guess, a bit more aware that everyone's relationship structures are different nowadays. I am very much trying to promote not monogamy by default. I want everyone to be doing monogamy by choice or another relationship structure by choice. I'm trying not to treat every person I meet. They might tell me they have a partner, this or the other. But at this point, I've spoken to so many people who have different relationship structures or people who are trialing different things, people who even have relationships that they open, close, depending on where they're at in their life. And I'm trying to sort of like just always keep everything I do, whether it's speaking directly into this mic, into a public space or in the personal space, a very open, non-judgmental space around me always. And I made the mistake of getting involved with someone who had sort of made their interest very clear and was in a relationship. But when, as I've said before, when I had my affair, there's always a moment and you make that choice, whether you do or you don't. And when I felt that moment was approaching, I said to this person, I don't know what your relationship structure is, what your boundaries are. I'm trying not to pry. I'm trying not to assume. So what I am going to do is say to you, I trust that you will respect your own relationship and your own boundaries. So you will know whether this is something that you can enter into with me or not. Like you have that information. I don't have that information. That's up to you to look at your situation and go, what I'm about to do is okay, or what I'm about to do is not okay. And I'm going to trust you to make this decision based on what you know you have to respect or not. So I put that into someone else's hands thinking, surely whatever comes of that means that it's okay. Was I right? No, of course not.
Yeah.
So I found myself involved in a situation that unfortunately I wish I had not. And why I'm telling this story is because I do feel like people may listen to this podcast thinking at this point, I have everything figured out. I don't think we ever figure it out. I don't think there's an end to that stuff. So, you know, I think it's an ongoing journey for all of us. And one of the reasons I have this podcast is it's an open space for non-judgment, for people to come with their mistakes, with their stories, and for people to know they can do that with safety of no judgment. We will work it out together. You know what I mean? Being a human is complex and things happen and we got to work through it with the most grace and the most respect that we can. But it is important to me that I also let anyone listening know I am also still making mistakes and figuring things out. I actually found myself then in that situation realizing I've never been the other woman before, ever. And that has been really shit. Obviously, post then learning what the real situation is with that person and their partner, like learning what the reality is of the situation, and like the amount of guilt and the amount of shame and the amount of remorse, and also the weirdness of feeling like that other person doesn't feel that much remorse. And I'm like, wait, don't you care about your partner? You know, all of that stuff is really fucking difficult. Seeing like doting posts on Instagram and being like, like you've actually like been so disrespectful to that person, and feeling like such a huge part of it. You know, when like the truth came out that like actually what was happening was like all kind of a lie, I was like, this is so fucked. I think what you said is like so true. Like, I do still feel like it's such a space where women are still so blamed. And that's still something that I have to navigate and process. I kind of felt like maybe I had sex and communication figured out a bit more as well. You know, I'd like to think that you can put those decisions in other people's hands and they will be safe and they will respect their relationships. But you know what? Unfortunately, some people are not.
No, sadly not.
And that's how the year started out for me. And then I went and had very gay summer because I was like, men and penis owners, you kind of suck.
Do we have time to discuss this? When you say very gay,
like I felt very, and as we know, I'm all inclusive, but I was like, I can't with the men and penis owners right now. This has really affected me and I don't want to deal with this. So I went and had very gay summer. I also will say at this point, I do have a crush on someone at the minute, and they are a man.
A lot more than a crush.
Owner. And so every other man and penis owner is like dead to me at the minute because I'm like, I have a crush. So I was giving gay summer.
A crush that has been going on for...
We can't be giving out this level of information. Anyway, so that was the start of my year. I don't feel good about it and don't trust people to respect their relationships because people still don't.
It's just sad that they don't know, isn't it? I was also put in a very compromising position. I just blindly assumed that someone who I kind of had relations with sporadically, they were also single. I didn't find out until I was in the shower afterwards, and I was then almost like, what? I had then just found out that I had then been the other woman completely unbeknownst to me. Just because I didn't ask. But I was like in my head, I was invited here for one reason and one reason only. I should be safe to assume.
I think it just exacerbates the fact that we all need to be having more open conversations about monogamy or not. And I think that people need to feel like in a safer space to be like, this isn't for me right now. It's not working for me. That's not a structure that works for me. And I'm hoping we can move forward into a more open and positive environment about that stuff.
I would think what would be great, what would be awesome is if there's a way to validate if someone's in like an open relationship, or because I had someone tell me that they were, and I remember saying, because this guy was significantly older, I think I was 24 and he was like 45, 46. And he told me, he was like, I'm in an open relationship. Like my wife knows what I do when I'm away from work. And he was away from work like 8 months of the year. And I was like, I don't believe you. Like, I really just was like, she's not here. She's like in New Zealand. I just don't believe you. And so I convinced myself like just making out was fine. So I gave myself a free pass. And then I went on with my day. But I'm like, in my brain, I was like, it would have been interesting if there was a way to prove that this is true, because I'm just taking your word for this. Because you can co-opt being in an open relationship in that situation.
Well, like a little poly bracelet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or just like a voice note from his wife.
For me, like my worst thing is lies, as we all know, like, so I don't like having to lie about anything. And like, for me, it's just like, once I find out that like something is dishonest and it's a lie, like that's when everything just turns really bad for me. So girls, before we move on to the confessions, let's all give an ick.
Okay, I'll go first. Like novelty dressing gowns.
Like what?
You know, like Superman dressing gown.
As in, like, if Martin had had one of them, would it have been a no from you, since he managed to have the nice bed, unlike on the last season?
That's a really good question.
What if he'd had like a Teletubby dressing gown?
Yeah, no, that would have been a real no-go. No, the reason why I say that is because actually one of my ex-boyfriends did used to have a Superman dressing gown, and I definitely overlooked it. But it was a huge ick for me that it was there and existed.
Mine is a guy I hooked up with would fairly often say to me, let's have a look at you then.
You've told me that before, yeah.
Well, like, present yourself to me.
Well, quite. That's how it made me feel. I was like, wait, do I turn? Do I twirl? Do I leap? What do you mean? Because I'm here. You are looking at me. So what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Wow.
It just made me feel very put on the spot.
Yeah, like, what, do I dance for you?
It's giving dance call, improvise your own 16 counts.
Don't, I'm still traumatized.
That's how it made me feel. It made me feel put on the spot, like I was supposed to start like jiving at the end of the routine. I don't know if it's like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know. Is it a power play? Are you trying to make me feel uncomfortable? I don't know.
I've thought of my ick, but it's not for dating. It will be, well, maybe it can translate, but it'll be when someone goes and they're proud of it and they go, when they're like a girl and they'll say, I have no female friends.
Oh, I'm not really a girl's girl. I'm like,
Nah.
why? But we're so great.
Then I don't trust you.
And I get it, because like women can be intimidating. I understand that, but like it's the pride that comes from that of like, oh, I only have male friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Oh dear, what do you do? Right, ladies, it's confession time. We have general confessions and some touring confessions. And to be fair, I gave away my most precious touring confessions. You're going to have to listen back to the finale. I have got one to add that Dev reminded me of today, but you're going to have to listen back to the finale of season 1 to hear Seaman Chairgate and Peggy Babcock, because they were mine from season 1. Okay, Dev, kick us off with the first confession that you've got down there.
I enjoy my husband watching me fuck other men.
Oh, I love that.
I'm very, very here for that. Very here.
I am so here
the
for
fact
that.
You found like something that works for you and that gets you off. Yes. Whoever has sent that in,
10 out of 10.
cheers to you finding something that gives you that kind of pleasure. We are here for it. Big round of applause.
Only had 5 mins to have sex in between scenes and went back on stage with my costume and tights ripped open.
I know who this is from. So I know it's a woman, it's a vulva owner, but I am going to need context, because if everything's ripped open, do you mean it's out?
Surely she didn't go out vagine first.
Well, cool. We need some, please, can you give us a follow-up?
Yeah.
Because I need to know if you were giving vag out, honestly.
Yeah.
Sex on the beach in the Caribbean during a cruise job. Now, sex on the beach, not so much for me, because I think sand and I hear thrush.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Agreed.
A friend of mine, I won't mention any names, anyway, went to a sex event, and herself and her partner, she was like, and we had sex for like 2.5 hours. And I went, what, straight? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, penetrative sex and for 2.5 hours straight, no stopping, just like raw dogging for like 2.5 hours. And she said, yeah. I thought, all I hear is thrush and cystitis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting the caniston out. We're good.
I'm here for anyone out there who is going at it in one stint for more than 2 hours. Because for me, I'm giving it's 40 minutes max.
Or 5.
Like 40 minutes max with build up.
Yeah.
That's got to be like a lot of foreplay, and then penetration. Really, I'm only really wanting to go for about 20-30 minutes, but I'll push it to 40.
It's like when people talk about shower sex, bath sex, pool sex, I'm like, it's just screaming UTI.
The one time I had shower sex in my dressing room shower, which was on a job years back, I literally had thrush and cystitis from it. I was in so much discomfort. I wanted to drag my vagine across the floor, because I literally was like, I'm in the pits of hell. And actually, that was the last time I had shower sex. It's not for me, but congrats to anyone who is about that shower sex life. Like, I'm here for that for you. But for me, it's giving unwell.
I physically ghosted my digs lady's son last year. We hit the whiskey hard when I got back from the show. He was home for Christmas. Next thing, it's Oral City in his room, and when he got up for a condom, the alarm bells went, and I physically ran, upstairs, locked the door, and looked at hotels.
This is the one I posted on my Instagram, and I was like, someone needs to come forward and tell me who this is. And they did, because I was like, I need context. Did they come knocking to be like,
wait, did they?
Where have you gone? No, they didn't. Originally, when I read that one, I thought like, maybe they went to get a condom from another room, not just turned their back and then they ran out of the room.
That's also bold. That's like, this is my opening. So I'm just going to. bolt.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. At what point do you think it's too late to be like, I'm done?
Never.
I applaud the person for doing this because I would have been guilty in the past of being like, I've come this far, I'm going to have to see it through. And that is exactly the attitude that I want to get rid of in people, because I want people to know that that person can have got a condom. They can be literally having sex and they can go, I'm done. You know what I mean? That's what I want people to know, is that they can get out at any time. But I definitely in the past would have been guilty of being like, I guess it's happening.
One of my friends called me from her uni bathroom to be like, can I back out now? Like, he's in my bed.
Yeah,
and
I do think people
and I was like,
that.
yes. And then she's like, but he's in my bed. Like, he's right there. I'm like, yeah, girl, I was like, stay in the bathroom till he gets the hint. I was like, we'll stay on the phone.
Someone can be inside you and you have the right to be like, enough.
Amen.
I don't want to do this anymore. It's gotten kind of serious. I'm obsessed with the story. It is literally hilarious and fantastic. But you know what? It actually commends quite a serious issue, and props to you for getting out when you were like, this doesn't feel right. So I am like 10 out of 10.
We stand.
I think maybe it might have been better to say, hey, I don't think that this is for me, rather than running out of the room and locking the door. But here for like your boundaries and being like, you know what, I don't want to take this further. Good for you.
Had sex in a theatre and the sound desk could hear everything.
You got to be careful with those mics.
But can I just clarify? So this is post, you've done warm up, you've put on your mics, and then you have sex.
Either that or there's just a load of live mics in the dressing room.
I hadn't considered that.
And this ties in really well. A very close friend of mine, I was actually on this job when this happened. So this person had sex during the interval and the sound desk heard it and recorded it and played the recording of it at warm up. Illegal. It's illegal.
That's awful.
Why? Like, what was the...
Because they thought it was funny. And also, you know what? This was a long time ago when I think, you know, there weren't so many protections in place, which was not a good thing.
Fine.
But yeah, that is what happened. But friends, lovers, listeners, anyone out there who wishes to have sex in a theatre, if you have a mic on, cover it, or just give it silent library when you're having sex. Be careful, please, my friends, because it's just not what you need. You don't need audio recordings if you're having sex in theatres. That's my takeaway from that one.
Got lectured on how my sex noises were pornographic from my digs lady after I woke her and her kid up.
Oh, also for anyone out there listening who isn't in the theatre industry, digs are the places that you stay when you are touring. So like you might rent out a room in someone's house. There's a lot of stories in here that refer to digs, and that is what we mean when we talk about them. I guess maybe again, we want silent library, but what do you say when someone says that to you as well?
Thank you. That is exactly what I was going for. Terrific news.
Sorry, which porn video are you referring to?
Guys!
It could refer to any number of noises.
I was gonna say, like, do you think there was part of it was like, hey, I don't mind if you're having sex in like my house, but like,
keep it down.
Yeah, like there's probably a nicer way to say that isn't kind of like slut shamey, right?
But some people say like, no matter what, like you never don't feel uncomfortable hearing other people have sex. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I love hearing people have sex.
I've heard so many people have sex.
I actually just spat my gin on myself.
I love it.
I've had to be the other, like the person that's in the room with the friend so that the other two people can hook up.
Shout out to Ben Stacey.
Okay. We don't need to bring that story up again, thanks. It was already on the last season. I had sex literally next to him.
Oh, right. Okay. What's awkward is when it's your friends and you're like, oh.
You're like, no, I know what you sound like when you come.
I don't want that information. I'm okay. That's not going in your birthday card. I don't need to know this.
I mean, my housemates are a couple. And let me tell you, we live bed frame to bed frame, as in like we have like a wall between us, but our beds, the way our rooms are up, are bed frame to bed frame. And it's, I don't know how my house was built, but I'm here for it because it's giving soundproof.
Walls of steel.
Walls of steel. Okay, there we go.
Gave my secret tour BF a blowjob in the disabled loo at G Live between shows on a 2-show day.
It's giving Peggy Babcock.
It is giving Peggy Babcock.
Refer to season 1 finale. I've given many a BJ in toilets in theatres up and down the country. I am ashamed to say. Well, I'm not ashamed to say. It is what it is.
They have plaques for you all up and down.
Imagine. We should go and do that.
Oh my God, what, like Banksy? Just like stick a plaque on all the regional theaters up and down.
We could put like a handprint on the mirror.
That's actually not far off another confession that's in this list, but I'm here for it. Do you know what? Good for you, Peggy Babcock. Good for you. Refer to season 1 finale. Okay, next up. On a TIE tour in Germany, went on a Bumble date, ended up bringing them back to our digs and having sex. Kicked them out at 5 a.m. to leave for a morning show at a school. The date had given me a hickey. My cast never let me live it down. Right, let's talk about hickeys because I think they're sexy. I like them.
A no from me.
I don't think I've had one in years. Like,
Yeah, one of my best mates, he told me I'm trash for thinking that they're cute, but I like
I just
it.
don't think it's necessary.
I've just never had it happen organically. Like, as in, like, we used to do it together, like in school. Like, our friends would give each other hickeys, but it's never happened naturally.
I think I've maybe had like a couple naturally, but I just don't like them.
I don't know. I think they're kind of hot.
I've never felt one happening at the time it's happened, though. It's always just appeared afterwards.
I think anything going on with my neck, I'm like, fucking go for it.
Had sex on every floor of a theater.
Wow.
I need to know what theatre it is because if it's Edinburgh Playhouse, there's many, many, many floors.
That's really impressive.
Do you think
isn't
that was
it?
like a challenge or that just happened? Yeah.
What rooms are you in? Are you just like sneaking into people's dressing rooms, having sex on their floor? Maybe they're going in all the toilets. I don't know. That is impressive. I can't say I've ever done that.
Well, something for you to think about. Once on tour with my then partner, stayed at the writer's parents' place, had sex in their bed, and she squirted for the first time. Congrats to her. Had to spend the rest of the night frantically searching for a spare sheet whilst attempting to dry the original with the hairdryer. I was the one who added in the congratulations to her, by the way. That was a side note from me. That wasn't the person saying that.
Let's talk squirting.
Yeah.
It's never happened for me personally.
It has for me.
Elaborate.
Yeah, it does wet the bed. You do need a change of bedding for sure.
Is it a frequent occurrence?
For me, no.
Did you know it was going to happen? Did anything feel different for you to be like, oh, shit?
No.
Did you think you were like weeing yourself?
No, I knew it was something different.
Because a friend of mine, we went on a hen do and we all had to send in like basically like sex related stories anonymously, and then the bride to be had to guess who sent in what story. And one of the girls put in a story and she was like, her boyfriend at the time was coming down on her, and she said, and then I pissed myself, but he thought I squirted and I just went with it.
Wow.
So I was like, I wonder if, you know, I mean, if it like feels like excessively different.
You don't really feel like it's happening at all. All of a sudden, it's like there. It's not like an explosion either, which is what I think a lot of people expect it to be. Like all of a sudden, it's like fireworks coming out of your vagina. It's definitely not like that. There definitely is some form of release.
Okay.
It doesn't feel the same as an orgasm, but I feel like I have multiple different kinds of orgasms. So I feel like I orgasm differently with a toy.
Yes.
And then differently
with a person.
With like a person. And then this is also then just something that's completely different.
Okay.
But it's nice.
Well, good to know. Maybe I have to do an episode on squirting, even though I've never done it, but we need to delve into that more. Okay. So I'm here for this one, although they've put in a reference to the show I'm doing at the minute. So I'm like, is this someone who's in my company? Me and my now husband were getting to know each other on tour.
Ooh.
And there was nowhere in the city to get it on. So I gave him a hand job in the swimming pool changing rooms. Lol, romantic.
Nice.
Get it where you can get it.
Get it where you can get it. Absolutely. But I'm like, you've given a reference to a show I'm currently involved in, and I'm always going to all of the pools around the country because I'm obsessed with swimming. Did this happen in a swimming pool changing room where I've been present?
Quite possibly.
That's what I want to know.
Left handprints all over my colleague's mirror after the dressing room steamed up from sex.
Also, how fucking hot is it getting in that room for the mirror to steam up?
I know. Wow.
Congrats. Was it their room? I hope it wasn't someone else's room. Like, imagine like coming into your dressing room and there's like random handprints all over your mirror.
No, it says all over my colleague's mirror.
Was it like the same colleague they were having sex with, or was it like a colleague that they were having sex with and it was in that colleague's room and they're like, let's fuck around in this room like Seaman Chairgate, and they're just leaving handprints all over mirrors to be like, I was here.
I feel like it wouldn't have been phrased that way. I feel like it's definitely like a third party.
I think so.
Interesting.
Me and my partner live near a beach with a rocky alcove. Side note, I love the word alcove. It's a regular spot for us, and we often get interrupted by dog walkers. Often.
Well, it's probably the dogs, because let me tell you, I don't do it anymore. But one time I was hooking up with someone and the dogs were asleep at the end of my bed. And actually, I was giving this sexual partner oral sex, and Reggie, my little dog, literally was like right up in our grill, giving it strong eye, tail wagging. It was beast stressful because obviously they can sense the pheromones. And he literally was like, could not have gotten closer and was wagging his tail like it was the best day of his life. And I was like, this is terrifying. So it's probably the dogs running over being like absolutely thrilled because they're like, we can smell the sex. We all know what it's like to walk into a room after people have had sex and be like, we know what's gone down here. Especially if it's in an alcove. It's an enclosed area. Katie Faye, I know you want a dog, but let me tell you, don't let your dogs on the bed because they want to get involved and it's fucking weird.
Yeah, no.
My last one that I've been sent in is having sex on stage during the overture of beep, not going to say the show, Under the Stairs with the rest of the cast just above us. So when my friend sent me this one, I was like, oh, haha, are you talking about me? And she was like, no, I was talking about me. So then we realized that like this is a thing that just happens on this show.
Oh, I'm going to think about that now. I know your CV.
This is a long time ago. I would never do anything like that now.
Fascinating.
Before we move on to anything else, any confessions from either of you? General or touring?
Oh, yeah. Okay. My only, it's not a confession, but like, I didn't know how to, because we were all sharing a dressing room. It was like giving it fringe. And I remember being like, how can I like flirt with this guy and like try to be all cutesy or whatever. And I think I came up with, I made him do up my corset because I was going to see a midnight showing of Rocky Horror. And I was like, this is it. This is what's going to get me the guy. I was like, just help me in this dressing room that we share with 12 other people. I want you to help me do it. That was it.
But it got you the guy.
It got me the guy. So, ladies and gents, it works.
Casey?
Not really. I think the most I ever did was a snog backstage. Don't think I ever got up to any like raucous activity. I'm trying to think.
Not in a theatre ever?
No.
Good.
Never.
Okay, well, Deb actually reminded me of this story. Again, this was a long, long time ago. And I was on tour. And at the time, I was dating two people. We hadn't discussed exclusivity, to be fair. Those conversations just hadn't happened yet. Do you know what I mean? It was early days. And they both booked the same train to come and see me in one of the venues. They were like, I want to come and see you in this place. I thought, okay, interesting. I was there for like 2 weeks. So I thought, okay, that's manageable. It was also like, I'm not going to name the place, but like not one of the cuter places that you would visit on a tour. Like it wasn't like a cute area of the UK. So I thought it was odd that they both had decided that they were going to visit me there. And then they both sent me their ticket to be like, I'm going to arrive on this day at this time. And I was like, that's literally the same train. What does one do in that situation?
What did one do?
Broke it off. In a blind panic.
That is tragic.
It was not cute. And like, you know, like we hadn't actually like discussed that we were like in a committed relationship. It was still early days, but like you can't be having two people rock up on a train and be like, what? I wasn't in a position to be giving it throuple. I didn't even know what a throuple meant at that time. Not my finest hour, kids, not going to lie. But that was the reality of the situation. 2 guys, 1 train. Oh. That's what that story will be forever known as. Okay, we're going to move on to our questions that we've been sent in. Number 1. Does Katie remember the Firehouse days?
What the fuck? Who has sent that in?
What are the Firehouse days?
One of my early doors boyfriend. And we used to...
What's Firehouse?
It's just this, well, it was this restaurant and bar And I had sex in the cellar and sex in the disabled toilet.
Oh, was this the wine cellar?
Yeah.
Season 1 finale was like just packed full of absolute gems, if I'm being perfectly honest.
That's why I don't have any confessions left.
You're like, I already did them all
Got them
out.
all
We're
out.
going to have to create some more because we've got to do many more seasons.
I'll let Martin know.
Does Katie remember the Firehouse days? No. Moving on.
I should have just said that. Not got a clue. Thanks. So specific.
And now you're like, who sent this in?
Yeah. What's this really soft icebreaker to be like, do you remember me?
That time we had sex in a wine cellar and you were looking at wine labels.
Unfortunately, yes.
And you were learning about wines. Well, there we go. That was our first question.
Okay.
This podcast is getting personal, friends. Next up, did Dev try the hot sauce?
I did not. But I will.
You really should have done that.
I will.
You've had almost a year.
I think, have you got some?
Do I have hot sauce?
Of course.
Should we do it live?
You know when they do that series where people keep putting hotter and hotter sauces on chicken wings and eating them? You could do that sexually.
1000%.
You could do a season.
Yeah,
because that's what you wanted.
Get it on that dick.
I'm actually not opposed to
You
it.
said you wanted. You opted in.
It sounds like an OnlyFans waiting to happen. You could be rich.
Wow.
Definitely.
And like a lifetime supply of hot sauce.
Paid in hot sauce. And also, so this is, again, I love this because it means that people are still listening. Follow-up question to season 1. Did any of you complete your sexual bucket lists? So Dev, yours was to join the Mile High Club.
No, I haven't done that yet.
I would have assisted had you have come on the flight with us.
What flight?
You ditched us from Barcelona.
Her boyfriend wasn't there.
Yeah, I was like,
No, I'd have taken one for the team.
well, you would have hooked up with me.
Yeah.
Thanks, babe.
You're like, this is important. We need to tick something off the list.
If you've not done it by this time next year, by the next finale,
We're all getting on a plane.
Okay.
We're all getting on a plane and we'll all do it together.
Thanks, guys. So supportive.
Katie, yours was to go to a sex party / event.
No, not yet.
We got an eventful year coming up.
We can all go together dressed as air hostesses.
Yeah. And we'll just pretend that we're in the air.
Yeah.
Oh,
We can go to like an aeroplane themed sex
You know,
event.
those kids like aircraft things in the supermarket.
Oh wait, like that thing in the toilet in Hull.
oh God.
Dev came to visit me on tour in Hull and there was a little fake plane in the toilet.
Oh, you could have done it then as well.
Those are like fairly big things to like tick off a list, and mine was like pretty chill. So at the time I had just discovered the clitoral suction sex toys and I was obsessed. It was giving me the 8-second orgasm. And my next thing that I was going to try on my sexual bucket list was to use that at the same time as having penetrative sex. What I will say is these toys, they make for a V-strong orgasm. And so I did use one with a sexual partner during penetrative sex. And when it made me orgasm, it shot that person's penis out of my vagina like I was sending a rocket ship to the moon.
Wow. Oh, that's impressive.
Like, I'm
Wow.
surprised they didn't fly backwards into the wall because it was giving, I want you out.
Mine sometimes does that. But if they keep it in far enough, they get just a real nice clenching activity.
Mine was like, get out with power behind it. I did allow them back in.
That's very good of you.
Okay, so they were our personal questions. Oh no, I had one more. Actually, this is pretty basic. This is a personal one to me. Curious where the nickname Peach came from. I'm going to sum it up really quickly because it's not a sexual story. It's actually quite a boring story. One of my very good friends called Michael Cutter, what a legend, because he coined Peach. We worked together for a company. He dared me to have a stupid name put on my name badge. I could have literally gotten fired for doing that. We chose Peach. It stuck. Here we are, literally a decade later, people are still calling me Peach. Sex on the Peach, going to be Dr. Peach. I bow to you, Michael Cutter. But it was just basically a joke. People often say, is it anything to do with your ass? And I'm like, if it was anything to do with my ass, do you think I would call myself Peach? Give me some credit. Come on now. Absolutely not. Yeah, like, yeah, look at me and my peachy ass. So I call myself Peach. Like, no. It's a boring story, but that is where Peach came from. Okay, so what is your top sex tip?
So I think for me as well, for a really, really long time, I would overthink it so much. And I think overthinking is where everything just goes downhill and has the ability to spiral as well. So I would just always say, don't overthink it. Enjoy having a great time together. Like, make sure that's all that's really like the key focus in the moment. Trust in the natural feelings, I think. Trust in the person that they'll try and assist you or help you get it right. Yeah, just don't overthink it too much, because then I think that's when everything starts to go a bit awry. If you let go and just enjoy it.
I would agree that like letting go is a huge thing.
And I think to build on that, like not being afraid of asking for what you want, what you know you like, what things make you feel comfortable, like not feeling like that's something weird or to be ashamed of, and just feeling like you have an open space to be like, this is how I like to do things. This is what I know that I enjoy. And like you said, it's a collaboration. So
it won't surprise anyone to know that my top sex tip is you just should communicate what you want.
It's hard sometimes.
It's really hard because as well, we're not taught to do that. That's a fairly obvious one for me. But I would say that like a very good sex tip is to pay attention. By all means, go in with what you think you know, but like pay attention to whether that seems to be working or not. Don't let your ego get in the way. Don't ever think that you know someone's body better than they know their body. No one knows how to go down on all people. No one knows how to penetrate all people. No one knows another person's body more than someone knows their own body. So if you are trying something and another person is not responding to it particularly positively, your ego doesn't mean that like, but you know better and this is what should feel good. Attentive sex is the best sex. Some people might not be vocalizing things as much as others if they're not so confident, but there's bodily cues.
Yeah.
But there you go. Let go, relax, enjoy. Sex is playtime. Ask for what you want and pay attention. They are our top sex tips. What's something considered non-sexual that turns you on? It's like the opposite to an ick. Because mine is when someone is already a fan of Scary Pockets and I don't have to introduce them to them. I'm like, sexy music. I'm here for it. I'm turned on.
When Martin does quick maths.
I can do quick maths.
Well, then you're turning me on too, honey.
Oh, yeah. Okay. When Jimmy speaks Spanish, I'm like, yes.
Oh, yeah. I get that.
Happy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to need Jimmy to do that for me just because I actually can't envision it.
It doesn't work with his face. I know.
I just know one version of
I
him.
know.
And I can't imagine Spanish coming out of his mouth.
Understandable. I get that.
That's part of the fun.
Is it full accent as well?
Oh, yeah.
Do you get him to dirty talk in Spanish?
No, because I wouldn't know what he was saying.
Do you know what actually would be fucking hilarious if you like talk dirty to me in Spanish and he was literally like saying the most basic mundane things but just giving it a sexy voice and you were like, yeah. And he was actually saying stuff like, I'm going to clean the kitchen tomorrow.
Donde está la biblioteca?
Wait, what does that mean?
Where's the library?
It is sexy when people speak other languages. I'm down for that. And I'm glad that quick math is sexy. I feel real good about myself right now.
Whenever there's like something's going on, I'm like, go and do it.
This is quite a specific one, but it's been sent to all of us. So we will work our way through it. So I've always felt attracted to women, 25 female. And I'm interested in pursuing that, but I have no idea where or even how to go about meeting or approaching fellow women. It doesn't help that I grew up in a very strict household, so anything outside the heteronormative was never even discussed.
Any women that I have connected with in that sense has always just been on dating apps, which I know is a bit meh, but it's like the easiest way to do it, I think.
I think just to start as well. Because I think it is nerve-wracking. You know, as I always said, I've never been on a dating app myself, but I always advocate for people to keep their profiles as honest as possible. So even if that profile is saying, figuring it out, looking to meet other women whilst I figure out what this means and how it makes me feel, because there will be other people who feel the same.
And also, actually, what I do find is that the lesbian community, especially, is quite a tight-knit community. Even if you just then make friends with somebody who's sort of a part of that community, you can always say, would you be open to introducing me to some more people? Which I would imagine they would be more than happy to do so.
I do think the apps can be intimidating, but I do think for stuff like this, they are really good. It's nerve-wracking to be like, hey, I'm like looking to try something new. There will be so many other women who are in exactly the same position, because we are moving into like, as I do feel, a new wave where people are more in touch with exploring their sexuality a bit more. And exploration doesn't mean you think, hey, I want to try this new thing and you love it. It might be that you try connecting with women and try having sex with women and you're like, it's actually not for me. And that's okay, because the only way you find out if something is for you is to try it. And again, you know, I totally understand, as you said, growing up in a very heteronormative environment, you just don't have any information. You know, that generation, we don't have, you know, we haven't had the information, we haven't had the education. So it does feel like even scarier to sort of try something completely foreign. But please just don't feel alone. You know, like I can help direct you to like apps that you can connect with people on, or I do like Maintain That Field is like a good app for like people who are sort of just like looking to like branch out and try new things. Happy to point in the direction of apps. And I'm so here for people exploring those attractions. Please don't feel scared. There's going to be so many other people. There's always going to be people exploring their sexuality. Anything you embark on, just always know that you are not on your own. Like, you're in very, very good company. I didn't realize I wanted to have sex with everyone until I realized I wanted to have sex with everyone. Okay. What's the kinkiest thing you've ever done on tour?
I've never had sex on tour.
Fine. I actually don't know that I've done anything kinky on tour.
There was this point in one of the shows, one of the guys in the show was playing the keyboards, and I was this is so stupid. And I was dressed up in this like cowgirl outfit, and I used to just do absolutely wild stuff at the side of him. But then I did get told off for
Were you
it.
sleeping with this person?
No, we never had sex. We used to just do that for banter because it was funny. So it's not really kinky, but I guess if we're talking about the kinkiest thing I've ever done, that's probably it.
I don't know that I've had like kinkier sex on tour. I mean, I feel like Seaman Gate. I'm sorry, I can't tell it again. You'll have to roll on back to forgive me, Father Christmas, for I've sinned, because I just can't.
No.
I've definitely had some like embarrassing sex stories when I've been on tour. I did have sex once. I was very, very drunk. I did have a sex toy involved. I don't really remember it. I did get told the next day that whilst I was having sex with this person, I thought I was involving the sex toy, and I was giving it reactions like I was involving the sex toy and really having a good time. But actually, I was holding the sex toy on my thigh, on my inside thigh. Really excellent work from me. But apparently I was reacting as if I was having the absolute time of my life, and as if it was in really hitting that sweet spot, unless I've got a hidden G spot on my inside thigh, which I am unaware of. My sex life veers anywhere between vanilla and kinky on a daily basis. So I don't think I can think of like one specific event I could say that's the kinkiest thing I've ever done on tour.
Mm.
Next question. Have you ever fantasized about someone else whilst having sex?
Yes.
Yeah.
Surely we all have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very open about that. Like, I've fully had whole movies going on in my head. Yeah.
I don't even necessarily always know the people that I'm fantasizing about. I'm making them up.
Really?
Oh.
That's so interesting. What do you mean?
Yeah. Like frequently, actually, if I'm just having a little play, I will make up a storyline, and the storyline will be people that I don't know. I will create fictional characters.
Would you do that whilst you're having sex with someone else?
I have been known to do it in the past, yeah.
To just create like whole little narratives?
Yeah, just to help me get there a little bit.
Have you ever fantasized about someone you know whilst having sex with someone else? Yeah, I'm still a yes.
Yes.
Also, yes.
There we go. So if you send that in, worry. If you send that in because you're someone who is fantasizing about other people while you're having sex and you're worried, don't worry. We've all done it.
We all do.
Okay, last question for today. What's the most amount of times you've had sex in a single day? I'm 9.
Twice?
6.
Wow.
I was in a relationship with this person, and it was fairly early on in the relationship because that was not a regular occurrence. Listen, I'm like sex every day, but look, we don't be doing 9 times a day. We did then have to go to work that evening. And when I tell you, we did not want to look at each other.
We just done.
Yeah, I was like, don't even look in my direction.
That's funny.
I've used up all of my looking at you today.
He felt the same. It was almost like we'd been just too much in each other's intimate space that day that we were like, no more.
I think that makes sense.
I don't even know how that happened. I haven't had time to do anything like that for a long time. We'd be busy. I don't know what was going on. Anyway, the last section. Here we go. The would you rathers. They're mostly gross. Would you rather wear the same thong for a month or wear a stranger's dirty boxers for 2 weeks?
Wear the same thong for a month.
Thong, because realistically, like, I'm the one that I'm going to suffer those consequences.
And you know what? You could probably sell them for a good price.
Definitely.
That thong's making you money. Would you rather give up oral sex or sweet, delicious cheese?
I'd have to give up oral sex, but that's just because
I would also give up oral sex.
Look, you know this about me. You know that just oral is kind of like a give or take thing for me. Sweet, delicious cheese is not.
Wait, you'd give up receiving oral sex for cheese?
Yes.
Yeah, I would too.
Oh my God. I'm like, that's like the number one thing in life. And I love cheese. I love sweet, delicious cheese. It's the sweet. The sweet is jarring.
The sweet, delicious cheese.
Okay, so that is actually not the ratio that I was expecting, but we've got 2 people picking cheese over oral sex. I will stand firm. I'm not giving up oral sex for anything. Would you rather give 5 blowjobs per day or have anal sex once every 2 months?
Blowjobs.
Have anal sex once every 2 months.
Yeah, I'd rather give 25 blowjobs a day. It's a lot of work. It's bringing back Peggy Babcock days. I feel like whoever sent this in,
that was personal.
It's giving attack. I would literally rather spend my whole day every day giving blowjobs than have anal sex once every 2 months, once every year.
I'm on board, and I'm lazy on the best of days, but there's a limit.
Would you rather have sex in front of your parents or have to watch your parents have sex?
Yeah, I'm going to be saying that I will be having sex in front of my parents once.
Yeah, same. Also, mine are divorced, so I'm like, what's going on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, mine haven't been together for a long time, but I don't think that counts in this hypothetical world of would you rather. I'd have the most vanilla sex of my life in that event, but I would rather them watch me than have to watch them. I'd be like, I just don't want to know how I was conceived. Thank you. And
I'll just be closing my eyes and waiting for it to be over.
Would you rather scream your ex's name during sex or have your partner scream their mum's name?
Scream my ex's name. You would never be able to have sex with them again if they screamed their mum's name.
Are they saying the name or are they saying like mommy? Oh, no, absolutely not. No, if they say their name, I can maybe get around it, but not like mummy.
It's the name. It's not mum or mummy.
Oh, okay. I could get around that.
Imagine them trying to get out of it and be like, no, it's someone else I know who just happens to have the same name as my mum. No, I'd rather say my ex's name and be like, oh my God, I'm so fucking sorry.
I think I would just struggle with it being my thing, like my issue. I'd be like, I'd rather forgive you than ask for forgiveness for myself.
I think that's up for debate if it's you scream your ex's name or they scream their ex's name. But we're saying...
Yeah, I'm going to forgive you for saying your mother's name.
Why are they saying their mum's name, though?
That's between you and your therapist.
Yeah, I would rather scream my ex's name. To be fair, I'm not really a name screamer during sex anyway.
No, neither am I.
I barely say people's names as it is. You know me, I'm a babe gal, so maybe this isn't going to be an issue, but I definitely pick the ex's name over hearing my partner scream their mother's name. Would you rather give oral sex to your most hated ex or your mortal enemy?
I only have one ex, so I'm going to say I'd prefer that. Because by definition, that would be my most hated ex, right? On the scale of hatred.
I have one and I don't hate
them.
So
perfect. Done.
It's giving that's an easy question for you, which just makes me sad.
Sorry.
I don't really have a mortal enemy, but yeah.
Me either. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's giving movie. What do you mean mortal enemy? Like my nemesis. Like,
yeah, like Mojo Jojo. Please tell me you get the reference.
Of course. We could be them.
Yeah.
We could
be them.
Oh my God, Halloween.
Powerpuff. I would probably choose my mortal enemy. I'd have to think about who that might be, but there's no fucking way I am giving any of my exes the privilege of an oral sex session with myself.
Valid.
I don't know if I hate any of them though. Oh no, actually, I don't hate them, but don't particularly want to suck his dick either. Well, I don't know who my mortal enemy is. Maybe I've not sucked their dick before, and in that case, I don't really want to
Maybe
be.
it's a woman.
Maybe it's vagina. In fact, in which case, maybe I will do it. Maybe I'll aggressively give them phenomenal head.
Oh, I was going to say you're going to give them the McDonald's straw treatment.
I could do that.
That I was subjected to. Oh my God, maybe I was his enemy and I didn't know. Maybe I was his mortal enemy. So we're going mortal enemy, mortal enemy. Dev's going X, she doesn't even hate him. So got off so lightly, it's barely even fair.
Yeah.
Would you rather orgasm after a minute or take an hour to orgasm every time?
Can I go again after the minute?
I'd be like a minute and then I'm going to be orgasm every 10 minutes.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Maybe the person didn't want the question to be that easy. Maybe it was meant to be no, after a minute it's done, but tough shit. We're working smarter, not harder. Would you rather have a quickie every day or one long passionate session every month?
Passionate session every month.
Yeah, same.
I find that really a hard one because I'm all about a long passionate session, but I can't be doing every month.
I could probably last every month.
I can still do a quickie with myself.
It's giving a lot of masturbation though, isn't it? I don't know. I'd probably still pick every day.
Wow.
That's the whole point of these questions, isn't it? They're not meant to be easy. Would you rather walk around with your favorite porn category labeled on your forehead or not have sex for 5 years?
Mine is not good.
What is it?
She's not going to tell us because that would be the same thing as wearing it on her forehead.
I really enjoyed that reaction though. Mine is not good. What do you mean not good?
I just don't know if I'm comfortable walking around with it stapled on me.
I think mine is probably lesbian porn. I don't know. That's not a niche. It's quite boring. I think it's in a very high percentage of porn category. So,
Yeah.
Katie Faye, I want to know what it is.
I'll tell you later.
Text it now in the chat. I don't have a favorite category, but I also just think I could last 5 years without sex. I think I'd be fine. I've done it before, gals. I'm like, I could do it.
Yeah, to be fair, so have I.
I don't even know what I'm protecting, but I was like, I could do it.
I just walk around and people be like, oh, she's just a very proud lesbian.
Yeah.
If I was in a relationship with like a man and penis at the time, I'd be like, really sorry about this. This is just something I have to do.
You'll understand.
Are you telling us what yours is? Are you going to message
Yeah, I'll
it
put
to
it
us?
in the group.
And I'm going to be like,
You're going to read it out loud to everybody.
no, of course I'm not. What do you take me for?
That is not controversial.
No, I know it's not controversial. I'm just not sure I can see everyone knowing that that's what I enjoy watching.
You might not want that tattooed on your forehead because people might think she's asking for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we picking? Because I'm going to just wear lesbian proudly on my forehead.
No, I'll see you in 2028. We're good.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, we've come to the last Would You Rather of Sex on the Beach season 2. Would you rather have sex with a goat and no one finds out, or not have sex with a goat but everyone thinks you did?
I'd rather everyone think I've had sex with a goat, but I've actually not done it.
Yeah, I agree.
I spoke to some people I was at work with earlier and they actually really struggled with this one. They were like, well, I don't want anyone thinking I've had sex with a goat.
No, I'd rather they think that I've done that.
And I was like, yeah, but the alternative is that you have sex with a goat. How are you dealing with everyone thinking that you've had sex with a goat? I mean, people go around saying shit about me all the time that ain't true. So I think I've just learned to deal with it at this point.
I think I would just be really interested that is how people think my sex life is materialized. Like, what kind of circles is she running in? That's something that's happened.
I thought that was a fairly obvious one that you'd pick. Well, I just wouldn't have sex with a goat, but
Right.
You'd be surprised. The men and penis owners I spoke to earlier today were vehemently against anyone thinking that I'd sex with a goat. And I was like, does that mean that you would have sex with a goat then, so that no one thought that?
I also just wonder, though, is it different, the thought of putting your dick in a goat than it is
Versus having it put in you.
having a goat's dick put in you?
You still have to put your dick in a goat for people to to think that you haven't put your dick in a goat. And that is the real battle, I suppose. Okay, well, that wraps up the Would You Rathers for season 2. Thank you for sending them in. I am concerned about where they are going to go because they are already significantly worse than season 1. Ladies, before we wrap up the season finale of the second series of Sex on the Beach, is there anything that you would like to add to people and their sexual lives before we say goodbye? Any little bits of wisdom that you would like to put forward? Any little tidbits of information? Any little stories before we say good night, and God bless.
Happy fucking teens.
That's your advice? Your tip?
Happy
Happy
fucking
fucking.
teens.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because people are in a team if they're having sex.
I thought you said teens.
Oh, no.
I thought that was you still being like, fuck the virgins, have sex, so I don't want my episode.
Yeah, stream my episode, Katie Faye.
Happy fucking teens. Devika, anything that you would like to add?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready to go. I would say talk to your friends, share stories. Don't feel like what you're going through is yours alone. I think everything becomes less scary when we talk about it, which is why I'm grateful for this kind of space. So thank you for creating it. Yeah, and just don't be afraid to lean on your friends, anyone you trust.
Yeah, that is actually a really lovely thing to say. Definitely.
Talk it out.
Very good, Devika.
And you know what? You've also got us, because apparently, as you can see, we will talk about literally anything. So if you need to reach out, we are always here. I mean, I don't know what is left for me to say. I've now done 30 episodes talking about sex. So I don't know what tidbits there are left for me to say. I'm just going to leave it with the usual. My top 3 things: consent, communicate, collaborate. Please just keep those 3 things in mind as you move forward with your sex lives. Consent, communicate, collaborate. Devika and Katie Faye, thank you so much for joining me for yet another season finale of Sex on the Peach, for rifling through the confessions, the icks, the would you rathers, the questions. I could not have done it without you. It would not have been as fun. It would not have been as fulfilling for anyone to listen to. So thank you for being here with me today and for concluding another season of Sex on the Peach.
Sex on the Peach! Season 2!
Season 2, baby!
Well, there we go. The season 2 finale of Sex on the Peach. A lot to listen to, and honestly, if anyone out there is still going, the 3 of us, thank you for sticking with it. Thank you so much to everyone who sent things in, and thank you so much to everyone who continues to support the show. Every listen, every download, every like, every share, every save, all of those things mean so much, and I just want to always remind everyone that my goal is to keep this open, safe conversation going about the topic none of us were taught about. Let's keep talking about sex. Let's keep prioritizing our pleasure. Let's keep communicating. Let's keep consenting, and let's keep collaborating. I'm so, so grateful to every single person who is interested in this podcast and everything that it means. Thank you for tuning in to season 1, to season 2. I hope that you've enjoyed them. I'm going to be taking a short break now, but I will be back for a 3rd season. So I will see you all soon for season 3 of Sex on the Peach. But for now, thanks for coming. Thank you for tuning in to Sex on the Peach today, and I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. You can find and follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Sex on the Peach Cast, and you can also get in touch with me at sexonthepeachcast@gmail.com. Please do continue to like, share, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and I'll see you next week. Love.